In this video, I want to share with you why getting a Mac Mini and then an M4 15-inch MacBook Air, these two devices both are base models and they cost less than a MacBook Pro. So I want to show you my exact setup and why I think getting these two devices might be a better option for you compared to a single MacBook Pro. The first thing that you want to consider is going to be the price advantage. A single MacBook Pro with the M4 Pro chip is going to be $2,000. You don't want to get the base model because why would you get the base model MacBook Pro just for the display and the active cooling with the base M4 chip? That's the same chip that you're going to get in a MacBook Air. So that never made sense to me. That's why I automatically am starting at that $2,000 price point. Now the Mac Mini, just before I recorded this video, at least here in the United States, this was on sale on Amazon for $549, okay? Now that doesn't factor in that if you're a student, you can actually get this for 500 bucks, which is just a killer deal. Now the MacBook Air 15, just before I started recording this video, here in the US, $1,049 on Amazon, which is $150 cheaper than it is traditionally. So if you take both of these and add them up, that actually comes out to right around like $1,600, which is amazing because that's well under the price of a M4 Pro MacBook Pro. Now, if you're someone that's thinking that why not have one MacBook Pro and just use it at a desk setup and then also use it when I'm on the move? Well, I personally went through that and I just got tired of connecting everything, disconnecting everything. For example, with my Mac Mini, I have a bunch of things connected to this when I'm working at the desk. I have an SD card reader connected at the front here. I have 2 drives. I have a Thunderbolt display. Then obviously the power cable. You might need to have an Ethernet cable if you're going to be using that. But then I also have the Satechi hub that this sits on, and over here, I have another SD card and then also USB-A printer. So trying to connect all of these things to the MacBook Air would just be a hassle if that was like the only device that I was using to go back and forth between my desk setup and then also on the move. So that's why I personally haven't gone through the experience. I first had the M1 Mac Mini as my sole desk setup and I was like, I'll just skip the laptop. But then you need a laptop too, because there's moments where you've got to do work on the move. And that's why I think this setup is perfect, because both of these come in cheaper than one MacBook Pro with the M4 Pro, and it just makes more sense. That also leaves you a little bit of room to add things like a dock for your Mac Mini. So I added the Satechi dock. I bought this myself and it's been really awesome. It's been working great. A lot of people actually asked about Wi-Fi issues. I have not had any problem. Like, this is my main computer. I'm only using the MacBook Air when I'm strictly on the move. So this is the one that I'm using and I've not had any Wi-Fi issues whatsoever. The other advantage is that you can add more storage because I have the base model here. But how I solve that issue is I have this Zyke SSD Thunderbolt 4 enclosure, okay? And I use, this has like my entire Final Cut library on here. So when I'm editing at the Mac Mini, I have it connected here. And then when I need to go on the move, I just have it connected to my MacBook and I'm able to get everything I need to get done. The rest of the storage that I'm using on either of these devices, I have iCloud storage, so I'm not really putting unnecessary things. The only things I put on both of these devices were specific applications like Final Cut Pro, and then also a couple of others. If you take the price of this enclosure and then the Satechi hub and then the Mac Mini and then the MacBook Air, this comes in right around that $2,000 price point and you get more versatility. You're getting more devices. I'm actually, in one of my videos, I'm talking about this specific thing, building your Apple ecosystem. So I'll link that down below, to where I'd rather, if I can, if my workflow can handle it, I'd rather spend the same amount as opposed to like spending $3,000 on one device, I'd rather take that same amount and spread it on multiple devices. For example, instead of buying a Pro phone, you could simply buy an iPhone 16e, the AirPods 4, and an Apple Watch SE. And now you've got 3 different devices instead of just one Pro phone that you might not even be taking full advantage of. Don't get me wrong, I'm not against people buying Pro machines. Like if you need a Pro Mac Mini with the M4 Pro chip, or if you really need the Pro MacBook, be my guest. Go for it. It's your money. You get to do what you want. But I just think there's more value in buying yourself versatility as opposed to putting all of your eggs in one basket and one machine. If that's how you can make it work, that's awesome. But I personally really like the setup. Now, between both of these, like if you're thinking about performance, the M4 Mac Mini definitely performs better simply because it's got active cooling, it's got more space inside the body for heat to dissipate, whereas the M4 MacBook Air, I've noticed it doesn't have any problems for me because I don't really have a heavy workload, but what I've noticed is that it's it's more tamed. I feel like it reserves itself so it can run a bit longer, but having the 15-inch body, I've said this, not only do you get a bigger screen, but you also get a bigger chassis for the same components that are going to be in the 13-inch. So you're buying yourself a little bit more space. I said this in a different video that it's kind of like working out in a smaller room with no windows versus a room that has maybe one window. You're going to be able to work out for a lot longer. So that's basically the simple, plain English way of explaining performance to you, as opposed to showing you a bunch of numbers, which I don't like to do. But nonetheless, working on either one of these machines, it's a breeze. I've not had any issue. So honestly, going for a setup like this, you're basically buying yourself more versatility in the long run. And I think that's perfect because now I feel really satisfied knowing that I have a permanent workstation, which is my desk setup with the Mac Mini. But then anytime I have to go on the move, I'm not worried about disconnecting different things, taking them apart, taking this, taking that. No, I have one setup for home and one setup for on the run, and both I know will perform really, really well for a long time to come. If you have any questions about doing a setup like this for yourself, maybe you can tell me what is your specific workflow and I can help guide you. But honestly, please do yourself a favor and try to ignore all the bells and whistles and really figure out if you need that level of performance that comes with pro chips and all of that. Because if not, then save the money and buy yourself more versatility and you'll be happy for a long time to come. I really hope you found this video helpful. I just wanted to share my experience and tell you that many months in now, I've had a wonderful experience with the M4 Mac Mini and a wonderful experience with the M4 MacBook Air 15. Thank you for your time. Like always, if you've enjoyed, please give it a thumbs up because it'll really help me out. And like always, take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next video.